Hey, it's Beata
and Sarah,
and we are doing chapter 4 live in the UK test. We are talking about
early Britain.
very interesting.
Very interesting.
But Sarah knows a lot. So, what happened?
Beata doesn't want to talk about
No.
it. Right, well, from the best of our knowledge, we don't really know, but England was one great landmass connected to Europe before the Channel, after the Ice Age. So people just walked in, following herds of animals and gathering nuts and roots and all the rest of it. And they were the first people to live in Britain. And this era is called the Stone Age. Then they think, because archaeology is fairly imprecise, about 6,000 years ago, the hunter-gatherers settled down and built villages and became farmers. Nobody knows why. All over the world at a specific time, people went, now I'm going to settle down and be a farmer. But it happened.
And these are the facts, so that's what you need to learn.
6,000 years ago is what's in the book, so that's what you have to know.
So the first farmers.
They built houses and tombs and monuments, and one of these monuments, dated to about that period, is Stonehenge, which is not very far from where we are now. And it is Stonehenge.
It's the world famous monument dating from that period.
Great stones, and nobody really knows. There is still discussion about what it was for, but it was certainly something that communities used to gather for, probably religious ceremonies. We don't know. At this time, they have now found a community up in Orkney, which is very north of Scotland, very north. It's an island, Orkney.
And it's called?
Skara, Brae.
Yes, you've got a perfect pronunciation, because this is one thing. You can see the text, but you have no idea how it is pronounced.
Skara Brae.
Sarah,
it is a Scottish word. It's a Celtic word. It is not Anglo-Saxon, English, or anything else. It is a Celtic word because they spoke Celt up there. And it is a very well-defined community which they just abandoned. Nobody knows why. There are houses and little streets and so on, and it is definitely this era of Stonehenge.
So what happened around 4,000 years ago, Sarah?
The Stone Age developed into the Bronze Age. They discovered how to smelt metals. And of course, bronze is a very much better tool and a better weapon than just stones. And they lived in round houses, which you could, with thatch or probably peat on the top. And they did then start to bury their dead in a ceremonial way that we can find records of. And they built them a tomb in the ground and a mound of earth on top, which we call a barrow.
And that's a question. So you need to remember this.
A barrow.
Yes.
After the Bronze Age came the Iron Age.
Hold on, there is this fort. Yes, people still around houses, grouped together larger settlements. A very impressive hill fort. We need to talk about the hill forts. So,
but I think that's we're on to Iron Age by then.
Oh, shit. Oh,
we're still at the Bronze Age. Don't leap from the Bronze Age to the
Iron
Age, just like
in
that.
my head, it's just one thing.
To them it wasn't.
So now we are moving on to the Iron Age.
Yeah, that followed the Bronze Age. Much more difficult to make iron than bronze, but they learnt. And of course, then we're into the Iron Age of real weapons and much more easily defined communities living together. Now they started living in communities, then being humans, they started fighting, and they had to defend themselves from the other community who wanted their land or their iron or whatever it may be. And we see the rise of hill forts. They built their communities on hills and defended them with ditches and fences and so on.
And the most famous one is in?
Maiden. It's in Dorset, which is south of England, Maiden Castle.
And this is what you need to remember.
And you can still see it. It's still there.
What about their jobs? I think that this is one of the questions.
Well,
so most people were, according to the book.
Yeah, according to the book, people were either farmers, craft workers, warriors. Obviously, the women were weaving. They weren't jobs as such. They were just things that had to be done.
And what about the language they spoke?
They were speaking Celtic, weren't they?
Yes, they were part of the Celtic language.
That's why I mentioned Skara Brae being in the Celtic language, because we think now in the Iron Age, people were talking in the Celt language, the local indigenous language, which is still to be heard in Scotland, Ireland, parts of Wales, and, funny enough, Cornwall. And that was the language that was spoken before the Anglo-Saxons came. That is the oldest language in England.
What about the coins?
Apparently they minted coins.
Yes, apparently they did.
Because once you can smelt, make iron or bronze, then you can make coins. Then you can melt down metal, stamp it, and call it a coin. Yeah, because then they were, I weave a lovely cloth and I want to sell it to the next door village, and how do you sort that out? And eventually coinage came to be useful.
As I said, I mean, you can learn a lot from Sarah. This is not just about
not a lot from Beata.
No, because this is, I mean, there are some parts which I love. This is not one of the parts I feel enthusiastic about. And
also, I know you have to note for the purposes of the exam, but really, all this is prehistory. We don't really know when the Iron Age began or the Bronze Age ended and all the rest of it. There wasn't a line when they said, right now we're going to make iron. So there aren't many questions on this period, but you should know those few facts.
Yes. So now we will give you the questions. Pause the video, think about the answers, and then we will also give you the answers.
Question number 1. What were 2 of the main occupations of the Iron Age people? Was it A, hunter-gatherers, B, farmers, C, craft workers, weavers, tool makers, etc., or D, fishermen? 2 of the main occupations.
And the correct answers are
B, farmers, and C, craft workers.
Question number 2.
The people of which age were the first to make coins to be minted in Britain? Was it A, the Bronze Age, B, the Iron Age, C, the Stone Age, or D, the Middle Ages? And the answer is B, the Iron Age.
Okay, question number 3.
What is Maiden Castle in Dorset an example of? An example of A, a Norman castle, B, a Stone Age settlement, C, a Roman fort, or D, an Iron Age hill fort? And the answer is D, an Iron Age hill fort. Question 4. Which of the following, found in the Orkney Islands, is the best preserved prehistoric village in Northern Europe? A, Snowdonia, B, the Giant's Causeway, C, Skara Brae, or D, Sutton Hoo? And as I've said earlier, it's Skara Brae. Is the statement below true or false? In the Iron Age, people spoke Latin in Britain. Is this true, A, or false, B? The answer is B, because the Romans hadn't arrived by then. For much of the Stone Age, Britain was connected to the continent by what? A, a bridge, B, a glacier, C, a land bridge, or D, a tunnel? And the answer is a land bridge. Now it's a tunnel.
But it used to be.
But it used to be a land bridge. Basically, they were just one big mass of land.
So we have covered successfully
The questions you might be asked on ancient Britain.
Hopefully you have found this useful, interesting, enjoyable, fun, and you've learned what you need to learn. If you have enjoyed this, please like it, share it, and subscribe to our channel. Our next lesson is going to be about
the Romans.
Yes, and Sarah loves them. So this is going to be more and more interesting.
They're interesting.
Don't be the same, be awesome. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.